Hey, what's up, everybody? It's BDL44 coming at you with another video. Um, I'm running trades through the trade tracker, as I should have been doing the entire time I've been making this channel. But nevertheless, I did so for Ben Simmons, and there's a couple things that I found that works um, via the numbers. Now, of course, Philadelphia will likely have to sweeten the pot to make the incentive worthy for some of these GMs. But you work that into the equation as you go along. But as far as making the numbers match, I was surprised at what I found for a few of these. The first trade that I ran through was, of course, my team, just to see what the numbers look like, because there was a rumor that I knew wasn't true, that THT and Mark Gasol could get it done, and I was like, nah, that's not possible. But let me run it through the trade tracker to see if I'm somehow wrong, and I wasn't. That's not possible. Don't even consider that. The Lakers can acquire Ben Simmons if they throw in Russell Westbrook, and if the Philadelphia 76ers throw in Tyrese Maxey, the numbers work. So you can do that. But I don't think I'm not. That's not a deal I want to do for the Lakers. I love Tyrese Maxey though. I would love to have Tyrese Maxey, just stash him because I know what he's going to be. And in a vacuum, I would make that deal. But for the Lakers, I'm sacrificing that desire because I know what we're doing. I know what we're building. It's not worth it. But just if I'm a different GM and I have Russell Westbrook on contract, Ben Simmons available, and they're going to throw in Tyrese Maxey, I'm doing that deal. But not for us. Not for us. Not for us. So the next trade that I went through was the John Wall deal. Numbers do not match up unless you throw in Tyrese Maxey, who's also attached to Clutch, who's also demanded out. So Tyrese Maxey is a perfect storm for the Philadelphia 76ers in terms of the average trade that they're going to look to make to match up with Ben Simmons. Tyrese Maxey is actually the difference, ironically. It's weird, but he is the difference to make it work versus Ben Simmons going by himself, matching the numbers up. No, but if you throw in Tyrese's $2 million, most of the deals just kind of works like that. So, for example, like John Wall, same thing. It doesn't work unless you throw in Tyrese Maxey. So that's perfect. They need to. I think that's the deal to make. But Sacramento has a deal that really benefits them. They can get Ben Simmons without giving up any of their fantastic guards, without giving up any of their picks, because obviously Ben Simmons is a salary dump. All they have to do is give up two players they do not necessarily need to keep, in Marvin Bagley and Harrison Barnes. Now the problem is, one would think that the Philadelphia 76ers can get a much better package from other teams. I like all the packages that I mentioned over that package. But if you're considering the fact that Ben Simmons wants to go to California and they may not be able to trade him anywhere else, Harrison Barnes and Marvin Bagley are two bigs that can help you win right now, who are going to provide some defensive prowess. In particular, Marvin Bagley, I think his ascension is going to happen. He's going to get better. He's already showing signs of being a good power forward. It's easy to say he's a bust because he was slapped between Trae Young and Luka Doncic, but the reality is he's a good average starting power forward with more upside than his injury history has allowed him to show, in my opinion. And the fact that he played in Sacramento kind of works against him. If he were to get in a good situation with a good coach that kind of learns his game and puts him in positions to succeed, I think Marvin Bagley will be just fine in this league. I think he'll help people a lot. So a fresh start for him in Philadelphia, matching him up with Joel Embiid is a nice front court, very nice shot blocking front court. And I don't hate the fits, but I just think you can get a better package. So that's kind of what I looked at. Kyrie Irving is also a name that I ran through the trade tracker. They could do that without doing anything else. Kyrie's contract and Ben Simmons' contract match up perfectly. They don't have to do nothing. I think the difference for Philadelphia would be sweetening the pot. Once again, they'll probably have to throw some picks on there to make Brooklyn do it. A lot of picks, if you ask me. But as far as the numbers matching, Maxey can go in a different deal. Maybe they don't have to give up their own picks if they want to do a deal like that. Maybe they only have to give up like one of their own picks, trade Maxey to a third spot, right? Get that team to give them assets, maybe get a pick or something. Maybe they toss that in, try to sweeten the deal. If they want to do a deal with Brooklyn, try to get Kyrie out of there. If I'm Brooklyn, I'm actually considering this, y'all. I made a video about it last night. I understand that they're playing for something big, but I don't think Ben Simmons takes them out of that. In fact, I think he makes them a better team. And the trade tracker said the same, to be completely honest with you. The trade tracker said that Ben Simmons increased the win proximity of the Brooklyn Nets by 8 games. That's what he told me. 8 games plus by bringing in Ben Simmons and his defense. I don't know if I believe that, but when you consider what Kyrie Irving brings to the table versus the uncertainty of what he may or may not do in terms of playing, looking to pay him an extension at $4 million, $4 million, 4 years, or what, 170 or whatever it's going to be, that's a risk I would not be willing to take. Frankly, I am not paying Kyrie that when I know that his injuries and his decisions may keep him off the court. Great basketball player. No one's going to question his basketball play. But as I said last night, durability is a thing. And if a guy is injury prone, which Kyrie has been at times, it's a scary thing trying to invest in him. And even worse, if a guy decides, you know what, basketball's not first for me, you got to double down on the idea of them missing games for that too. It's just how I'm looking at it. So Brooklyn should give it a thought, give it a consideration. You know, not something too crazy, but it should be considered depending on how many picks they're offering, and depending on, of course, KD and James Harden's approval of such a thing. Although, if I'm not mistaken, they're already extended, so you kind of give away your leverage. Even as a superstar, you kind of give away your leverage once you sign contracts. But I think they still have James Harden to sign, so maybe that can kind of keep Kyrie in the door if something like this is proposed. But if Harden has already signed, I don't think he has, he can request they keep Kyrie, but we got you for contract, bro. Now you don't want to disrupt them because they could very easily demand out if they're not happy. But that's something that you would not do unless they're cool with it anyway. So it is what it is. So that's what I got, man. I didn't run it through Golden State. I didn't run it through the Clippers. I think that's worthy of doing. I just turned on the camera before doing so. I think the Clippers should go after this. I think if what I saw adds up, the theme of the trade tracker, they can probably get Maxey and Simmons for Paul George. And since they got Kawhi Leonard on contract, with all due respect to Kawhi Leonard, I wouldn't give a damn what he had to say, truly. Because we gave up a lot of picks to get Paul George, and if we can get a lot of picks in his stead and bring a player on top of that who's pretty much his value in Ben Simmons, that's a no-brainer. That's an offer you cannot refuse. And Kawhi Leonard is the only reason why you give up 1 million picks to get Paul George. And while you love Paul George and what he's done for you, if you're the Clippers, bringing back his value, pretty much double his value, is your responsibility. Just like any GMs. And that's exactly what you're bringing back if you can finesse it out of the Philadelphia 76ers. Now, there's no guarantee you're going to be able to finesse that because, again, I just got through giving you guys a bunch of examples of the options that may be on the table for the Sixers. But there's no guarantee that any of those teams will agree to that. Ben Simmons is not exactly a coveted player at this stage. But for a team like Houston, it's probably a good idea. For what Sacramento can give up versus what they're getting back, that deal should have already been done, and so on and so forth. So Ben Simmons does have a chance of getting moved. I think now that I know what the numbers look like, now that I know Tyrese Maxey's also demanded out, the numbers match up for even more possibilities. And if I'm looking at it truly, if they do a deal with Houston or if they do a deal with Sacramento, they may be able to keep from having to throw in a bunch of picks. They may be able to do that. Because if they do that deal with Sacramento, they're not taking back anything of value. No disrespect to those two players, but ain't nobody want them like that. I'd rather have Ben Simmons than both of those guys, if I'm being real. I like Marvin Bagley, and Harrison Barnes is a nice vet, but them dudes ain't better than Ben Simmons together. They're not. So if I'm Philadelphia, I'm not letting them fleece me for a bunch of picks. Sending Ben Simmons to Sacramento, I'm not doing that. Taking back those two guys, nah. Now, if they're gonna give me De'Aaron Fox, I'll throw in some picks to make it work. But I don't have to request De'Aaron Fox in order to make the numbers work. So that means I don't necessarily have to pay for De'Aaron Fox to get Ben Simmons out of here. You feel me? And of course there are so many other possibilities when you consider the the 3-team trades and the 4-team trade possibilities. So what I've done in this trade tracker is not limited to what these teams can pull off. It's just what I did in terms of trying to see what works in the numbers. But once you start adding other teams, you can do all kinds of stuff. And it's more likely that something like that would happen in the event that Ben Simmons gets moved. So yeah, it's a lot to consider. If Sacramento gets involved, I know that they were looking to possibly move Buddy Hield. I don't know that they were interested in just getting rid of him, but I do think that some part of Buddy Hield is probably thinking he was going to be playing somewhere else. Who knows where he stands in regards to that? They got a lot of guards, so I could totally see him looking for a change of scenery. And if Ben Simmons gets moved, I could see them moving him. Maybe not moving Harrison Barnes and instead putting him in the deal. I didn't run that in the tracker, but I think that works too. So I don't know. I know Philadelphia would love to have Buddy Hield. That would be a fantastic player for them. Buddy Hield has killer instinct. That's the thing, and he has not been in playoff situations. I believe if you put him in playoff situations, he'll do some of that killer instinct stuff that you need him to when you need him to. I'm a believer. So I think he would be a sneaky pickup if Philadelphia could find a way to finesse their way into getting him out of there. I would try. I would try for sure. I would take him over Bagley or Barnes, honestly. But he may cost you a pick. He may cost you something. So, it's a lot to consider, man. Looking at the trade tracker, I think that gives me more encouragement for Philadelphia and Daryl Morey to be able to move him. The numbers just really match up well as long as Maxi's involved in every deal. Most of the deals, rather. So, that's what I got. My name is BDL44. Thank y'all for watching.